Price, theater and dance critic for the Chicago Sun-Times, and it is my pleasure to introduce Nick Papillo. He is the founder of Visceral Dance Chicago, a terrific new contemporary dance company that has been sort of stunning audiences at the Harris Theater for the past year. He also has a great dance studio. We're in it right here. There are 2 other studios in this complex, and welcome.
Thank you, Hetty.
So I wanted to start. What possessed you to start a contemporary dance company in a city that has quite a few already?
I think it was important to me to kind of define a new voice here in Chicago. And I think what we were focusing on was honesty and unique personalities. And I think when I was aesthetically starting to kind of build the company, I wanted to define that. I was looking for very unique, something that's very different, or something that's going to stand out as something that people haven't seen before. So I think when we started putting it together, I think that's what it started. It goes back to, I think it's just a dream of mine. I mean, I can't remember the first time where that's all I wanted to do. And I wanted to build a company that can be a driving force, not only here in Chicago and be able to work with the main companies here, but also be able to travel and tour and be different things for these companies.
Do you have a tour yet planned?
Do not. That is our next. That's our next goal.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you started very ambitiously, which was you immediately booked the Harris Theater for Music and Dance downtown Millennium Park. And that is a big venue, and it's also a venue where a lot of very established companies like Hubbard Street and River North and Giordano and international companies come to perform. There's kind of a chutzpah about that. Why did you decide the Harris was the place?
I feel that I wanted the company to be seen at a very high level standard. And the dance that I see at the Harris and the other companies that are presenting there, I feel like are at that level. I wanted to be taken seriously. I wanted the dancers to do that. I feel that the dancers also are so incredibly talented. I feel the work that we're accomplishing and doing needs to be seen at a very high level and a very high standard.
And of course, you danced at the Harris Theater when you were part of the Giordano Dance Chicago company,
Yeah.
right?
So I've been on that stage. I know the feeling, I know the space. And I was saying, the very first time my dancers walked onto that stage and just seeing their smile and looking out to the audience, the excitement and the energy, and I knew that was right for them.
Right. You have quite a mixed rep. You create some of the pieces. You had a piece by the Israeli choreographer Ohad Naharin this last time. Monica Cervantes used to dance with Luna Negra. A lot of Harrison McEldowney did a great piece. Tell me what your taste in choreographers is and how you want to mix the rep.
Definitely. I think being open to constantly changing and evolving. I think we have established choreographers. We have very high names. And then also brand new voices, up and coming choreographers or existing choreographers that are just on this driving force. I think it also kind of emulates a lot of what's happening in the company. I have these dancers that are all these driving forces and energies and personalities and moving forward in that direction. I want to stay open to constantly changing and evolving. I think that's one thing I definitely want to focus on. And I'm open to, I think, countless possibilities. What can we do really next?
Right. Now, you have quite an astute business sense, which is not always what people associate with dance companies, although it's essential. And I'm wondering how you learned. One, you rent this fantastic place that has 3 studios, and you rent it out to other companies, and you have a school and a youth company. How did you know about the business model?
I think I'm drawn to numbers. I love the idea of just numbers in general. My parents owned a business. They were self-employed for many years, and I respected everything they did, the work they did, and step by step, my mother taught me a lot of what I need to do and always be aware of. I knew that.
So do you keep the books?
I do have people overseeing this.
Right.
I'm on top of all that stuff. I want to be in the know and have control over all those things to make sure that we stay on top of things. It's hard for me to look at this as a business because it's something I'm so passionate about, and it's my dream coming true.
Tell me what maybe the most memorable thing you've seen on stage has been, aside from your own company. Was there something that kind of knocked you out when you were beginning as a professional?
Yeah, I think, especially here in Chicago, when I first came to Chicago, I was blown away by all the talent within all the companies. I think the first time I saw Hubbard Street, I was blown away. Obviously the talent and the reputation stands behind itself. I was then defined by all the different new and upcoming works I think that the other companies were doing. I think what draws me is what is next, and I see the companies establishing and preserving their past and who they are and their style, but I like when they start to take the opportunities and the chances to do new or something different. And I think when I started seeing that within River North, dancing that alone with Giordano, and when we started to get these new things, I think that's what pushed me and was kind of driving me into where I'm at now with my company. What can we do that's pushing or going to the next level?
And what do you look for in the dancers in your company? You have 11 dancers.
Yes.
A sort of unusual mix. You have 6 men and 5 women, which is usually the opposite. What do you look for when you audition dancers?
Technique, looking for technically driven dancers.
And you're ballet trained.
Ballet trained, and have a strong contemporary background as far as jazz goes as well. But ballet technicians, as far as having the strength, the discipline, the detail, the awareness of their body, and also musicality, that comes to it. And then I'm looking for the other part. I'm looking for dancers that can get down into the ground, use their plie, how they connect with their bodies. So then when you connect the two worlds together, I think that's where you're creating a very strong visceral dancer in that sense. I look for unique. I think they have to stand out. They have to have their own voice, their own personality, and I look for that. So I think aesthetically, right away, I was like, that person stands out to me. I don't want anyone to look the same. I don't want it to be the same. I don't want every single time. I think what's new, what's next.
And you have been working with a fabulous theater lighting designer named Brian Sidney Bembridge, and I think his work really shows how important lighting is to dance. It is the scenery of dance. How did you two get together?
When we met up, I right away said, Brian, I don't want my lights to be like any other company. I don't want it to be a certain dance mold. And he was like, I'm your guy. He's like, we're going to make this happen. And when he saw the dancers for the first time, he was blown away. He was like, this is what needs to happen here. And I think his affiliation with everything he's done with theater for so many years and what he can do that's outside the perspective of our dance world, I think you're bringing the theatrical element into what Visceral is doing. I think they're very strong dancers, but what they have to do as far as their acting abilities, their singing abilities, and what they're accomplishing that way, and how we're connecting. Brian, I think, is just, he pushes the boundaries. And to me, I feel like that's why he works so well with what I want to accomplish here. It's outside the norm.
Well, thank you. And
Good.
you are outside the norm. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you, Hetty.
And thank you for joining us.